Hello there, and welcome to a brand new preview playthrough of Empire at War Expanded Revan's Revenge, a mod that converts Star Wars Empire at War into the Old Republic period. This mod is not yet available. We will be getting to a beta phase within the next several weeks. There will be more information coming on that later, but we are going to be playing as the Mandalorians in the progressive map, starting in Era 2. We'll automatically start in Era 2 if I left it on Era 1, so that is 3964 BBY. Which is about the time the Mandalorian Wars really heated up between the Republic and the Mandalorians. So we are going to get started, and yeah, just jump right into it. So there are some Sith planets on the map as well, but the main war here is going to be between us and the Republic. You'll be able to see some significant differences between this and the last preview playthrough we had in Revan's Revenge, which was the Sith, and definitely between this and the Mandalorian preview playthrough from a couple years ago, the first preview playthrough that I did in the mod. But we're going to start off taking a look at our core territory. Once everything gets set up here, we have a lot of planets around the Mandalorian sector. It looks like the Republic has a lot more than us, but really they're just a bit more spread out. So we have about as many planets as them. We'll look at the charts soon as well. Let's actually just start looking at this chart. Let's look at military. See, we're up there with the Republic. Sith is lower. Planet-wise, we're close to the Republic. Sith about half of what the Republic has. So yeah, let's start off by turning on all these little views. And we are going to build some tax agencies on some of our more valuable planets, like Cathar with 300 credits. Selenon has 200 credits per week. Taprawa with 200 credits per week. And Mandalore I already got, which has only 150. Maybe I'll let that go through, because I think we can double tax Mandalore, and that'll be a good idea. I'll probably just sell our base defenses, because we're good on infrastructure. I'd really want to start getting a hypervelocity gun on Basilisk, which is one of our level 4 shipyards over here in the core. Being able to defend against any attacks on Basilisk would be great. Ixalar is also very valuable, so I'd like to tax it, but it's also more at risk of being attacked as well. So I'll probably go for it. It feels a little risky. Let's wait until we can maybe be more sure of our ability to defend Basilisk. So we will use our last little bit of money for, let's say, getting a Verjabuir, one of our smaller ships, one of our anti-fighter ships. And you'll see up here there are 4 patrons in that category. And what that means is, one of the things that I do for these preview playthroughs is for people who are channel members here on YouTube, Twitch subscribers over on the Twitch channel, or patrons on patreon.com, they're able to name ships for use in the playthrough. So a lot of the ships you're going to see throughout this playthrough will have names. That's not something that's in the final release of the mod. It's just a way for me to thank people who make content creation, being my full-time job, a possibility. And so let's stack up a fleet here on Quelly. And we are going to attack Vanquo first, I think. Let's see how we're doing for all of our fleets. We have 180 pop cap there, close to our 200 max, which is good. Another fleet that's a bit lower. And then down here, we have almost nothing. So I'll actually combine that with you. And what is your flagship? You're in a Russur, Demigol. You don't have a command bonus, so I won't worry about that. I won't treat that the same way. But let's jump into Vanquo and get our first battle underway. We'll start preparing a ground force as well. Mandalore the Ultimate's in there. I think that's his blaster form. We do also have assets for a Mandalore the Ultimate version with his battle axe. So you'll be able to see that hopefully at some point as well. I think that might just be for certain missions, but one of the main things that still has to be done is organization of a lot of content. So that's going to be what we do between now and beta ending, or beta starting even. But let's jump in. Headless Horseman and Tolingaroth. So the Barurs and Russurs, there's 2 different types of dungeon ship that are different from the Lictors of the much later era, but same kind of principle. But we have Tempest, the Floaty Boaty, Mando Star, True Colors, and Consequence of Power. Buzz is also coming in. Concord. Let's get in Mando or Republic. Bad break. Warrior cultures are stupid. And realization vinst biscuitning. Warrior cultures, I mean, are stupid, but very destructive in Star Wars when they exist. But we have to pretend to support the Mandalorians during this playthrough, so a lot of cringe role-playing is apparently going to happen. Okay, so here we're actually seeing first instance of one of the Mandalorian government mechanics. It's a tactical-based one, where we'll be told to target certain specific targets, and then if we're able to take that out as a nice little group, we will get some bonuses. So I'm going to just let our main flagships take care of that. And you guys, the Barroers, can attack this guy, the Russoers. I would like to get through those sooner than later.
Thrusters at maximum. Open fire.
They are threatening. So the role of the dungeon ships, well, there may be a kind of political purpose to them later. Their tactical purpose in the earlier releases is going to be as a fleet tender. Though in this particular playthrough, that will not be a thing we're using them for, because that hasn't been set up on them quite yet. I might be able to set that up over the course of the playthrough, depending on when we have the final stats set up for them as tenders. But for now, they're just going to be some still useful combat ships for us. They're not costed as if they're tenders. They're not, like, the pop cap isn't based on their tender stats yet. So we'll still be able to get just as much use out of them as anything else. But we've gotten through that guy. Oh, we have another Bloodlust target, and it's one that's actually... Oh, no, it's you. It's you. It's you. Right now, the Bloodlust particle is the boarding one, but that will be changed into something more purpose-built in the future. I think we lost. But we got positive. There we go. So you'll see a lot of text like that that's still underway. But we can get into the station there.
Awaiting orders.
Move on over here. Make sure we're taking care of these fighters. I think we are. All right, I think this might be the final garrison ship they're going to have. So we'll be able to take that out. And bombers, I'm going to send you over there. The Mandalorian bombers, like the Basilisk bombers, are fairly numerous, but they're also not the most powerful. Like, as the Mandalorians, you're not going to be fighter spamming as much. They don't even really have a dedicated carrier. They have a good amount of fighters. They'll have decent volume, so they don't get, like, automatically overwhelmed. But they're not going to be as focused on fighters in their damage profile as, say, the Republic are. There we go. We need to be able to kill that foray. Like, we're still getting some damage on this, but they are just worse bombers overall than what you're going to see from the Republic in particular. And the Republic has some of those bombers hanging around here. If there's one area that is going to make or get probably significant changes between beta, or between now and beta, or even during beta and between beta and release, it's going to be how fighters work. Because one of the things we're really going to be looking at in this beta process is seeing how the transition to this period and some of the changes that were made with that apply. This is a variant of the Hammerhead with the different coloration there, so non-standard. But yeah, so like, since we are several thousand years earlier than Thrawn's Revenge and Fall of the Republic, there are some things that are handled a bit differently. Like, all ships are in Thrawn's Revenge and Fall of the Republic. We use scale factor of 1.0 based on how it's modeled. So we model every ship across all the mods at scale. So like, within Blender, the modeling program we use, they're always scaled like 1 meter equals 1 meter. Then in Thrawn's Revenge and Fall of the Republic, we use a scale factor, so the thing that sets the model size, of 0.5. meaning everything in game is
Reporting.
like half of the full size, but like everything's relative, right? So that means if everything's half size, that's just the scale the game is at now, right? But in Revan's Revenge, we have everything set to 1.0. So these, if they were ships in Fall of the Republic and Thrawn's Revenge, that means they'd just be half the size that they are in Revan's Revenge.
We have them in our sight.
And there's stuff like that with weapons, where there are different weapon types that are more common in this period, and that also means like fighter and bombers are like proportionally different. So there's some of those systems that we're still working on to make sure they apply to the period properly, and that's the kind of feedback we're mostly going to be looking for in the beta period. It's not really something that you can get super nailed down before starting to get that feedback, but all of that is it contributes to the reasons why we don't just do like a full public release and call that a beta, because the key part is making sure we're able to get and organize that feedback and act on it fairly quickly without like ruining everyone's public save file. We lost Buzz, Late Shadlar, and Mando or Republic, but we'll be able to get the 2 patron units back there. There are no lifetime limits in this playthrough for those guys. Let's see where we're gonna want to go. We'll leave out our Jedi heroes, and I'm gonna try to just build an army around Mandalore the Ultimate right now. So let's pull in some of the units we have. We'll be able to just take this off of some starting forces, and we'll eventually start making some other armies for our other guys. But do we already have taxation on that? Unrest 2. You just don't like me automatically. All right, no tax collection from there. What's your name? You are Craig. You're one of the rally masters. We'll leave him to defend on ground right now. And does Canderous have anything that I want to steal from him right now too? I think I'm gonna just take all these guys and give them to Mandalore the Ultimate. We'll build up a custom army for Canderous. He'll be our other. We're gonna try to get to, I think, those 3 or 4. Like, we're gonna build up these 3 fleets first, and maybe build a 4th, and we'll get a couple different armies for all of them. Let's actually get you guys over there to build that up too. So we have 2 Mandalorian knights, so lightsaber wielders, former Jedi. We'll build them up into 2 different armies.
Right away, sir. Underway.
All right, so let's get in our first invasion on Vanquo here. What I'd like to do first is try to take all of this territory that's around us. So Vanquo, Axilla, Surja, Terrace, and Jebel. And we'll be able to defend that pretty easily, I think, or like pretty consistently. And from there, we'll go to Nuain and Arcania, because I'd like to get these guys connected. But let's see what we can do on these planets. We have our hypervelocity gun built on Basilisk already. So let's get. We have a secondary defense. We have Veronica secondary defense. Technically, the Chemplex is better, but we shouldn't be able to build it, so I won't. And that's where we can get some spies. So I think we'll get a hypervelocity gun on Ixalar, and then on Basilisk. Do we get a Rusur? No, I'll skip the Rusur on there. Let's go back here. I'm just going to see what patron units are available. Those are all fully built up. We have 1 late Shadlar, so we'll get that one. I know we're going to have a lot of the early Shadlars. That was the most common request. We have 1 Candosi to build towards as well. Unless any get submitted. Submissions do stay open throughout basically the whole campaign, but I am recording a little bit ahead of time. So if the later they come in, the less I can guarantee that they'll be used. But I don't close off the submissions. I'm going to try to put a comment on the patron submission threads when I'm getting close to the end and where it's probably not worth it to do new submissions. But because in the past I was doing just the live recordings on Twitch, and so it was always kind of kept up with. but recently I haven't been doing that as much. I'm going to try to find some other things for our Twitch streams, either single stream playthroughs or whatever else. So that just applies differently now. But we're going to try to get over to this guy. And there should be a sensor we can capture in there. We're hopefully going to be able to get either up here or over here. And we'll see where we need to deal with the most opposition. I'll actually send one of you all the way over. It would have been better if one of them was Mandalore the Ultimate, because he'd be just stronger. He'd be able to get in for sure. But having this vision is going to help. Let's just put it on fast forward until we have one of those. Alright, there's something coming in. You guys are... Our light basilisk should be able to capture that, and we actually have this one as well. So let's put in... what's your name? Shore. On there. You can come ashore. And we'll bring in some more infantry and a Jerkad. Then Trachead artillery and a cockatrice walker. These guys are getting really handled. Oh, get out of there. Let's get another Jerkad in. Let's get a Baragvin. Some of the lighter transports. Mandalore the Ultimate. And there we go. Alright, hopefully this will all be enough to get us through. Although, unfortunately, we did lose our infantry on this. So we won't be able to capture anything, but we don't need to capture anything on that yet. Jerkad, you can get that. Oh, you don't want to be up front. And, alright, we're good. These are definitely not ATTEs, just so we're clear on that. If you're looking at that and you're thinking ATTE, you're wrong. Legally, entirely distinct. Very different. How dare you accuse the Star Wars artists of making something that looks the exact same but 4,000 years earlier. Ooh, there's the artillery. Have one of their own war walkers here. Maybe see some of our Mandalorians in action. They're fun little walkers. I really like the Mandalorian unit style.
Yes, sir. Moving at full speed. We can handle it.
That's just gonna be some stragglers in the back. So maybe I'll go through with our transports to try to capture some of them. Not capture. Try to get rid of some of them.
Ready for battle.
Alright, we're gonna have the bombers in. All the artillery is done, I think, of their stuff. And I don't know if we're in range with our track yet. I think it needs to move up a little bit. Here it comes. Alright. Let's try to get you in here. And where's Mandalore the Ultimate? He's been just chilling. Yeah, so this is the rifle version of him. He does have some alternate loadouts that we'll be using in different situations. But the War Walker, I think that's all they have. One of my own War Walkers coming up. Generally, well, there are... So this is obviously just something that was captured or brought over. But there are some instances like the Sith Interdictor or the Centurion where theoretically you could have different factions sharing a unit. And typically we're trying to avoid that in core rosters. So there'll be, for example, some hero units that are able to use Sith Interdictors under the Republic, but we want the rosters to have different playstyles, especially as there's fewer units overall. So you won't be able to just build regular Sith Interdictors as the Republic outside of very specific situations. But we got our first planet, so that's good. I don't know if we're going to look into maybe some spies, but let's take a look at the charts and see what the actual numbers look like right now. So 27 to 25 planets for us to the Republic. We'll be turning on Cruel at some point. I just don't want to do it yet because we'll probably get annihilated. Well, we might turn on Cruel. We'll see how things go. Sith Empire, only 15 planets with 7% military strength. Independent Forces, 7 and 15. Hutt Cartels with 6 planets, 14%. Wrath with 6 planets, 10%. Tion with 4 and 7. Hapes have 2 planets. Republic Aligned Sector Forces with 2 and 4. And then the Rakatans have 1 planet. I'd really like to invade the Rakatans. I think that's them, yeah, on Belderone. No, that's Krath. My bad. It's like Meridoon or something? Yeah, it's Meridoon right here. Because a lot of the minor factions right now use just Republic or Sith, or like just a variety of other things. Like the Hapens use that right now. Over time, we'll be able to make more unique stuff. But the Hutts have some of their own stuff right now. There's 2 more units they're going to be getting before release. And the Rakatans actually have some unique ground units. And they're also going to have some Starforged stations, mini Starforged stations. But let's divide you guys up into the different groups like I was saying. Who are you? You are Ghent with a Bragvan. I'm actually... I'll put you over here. I'll put the Jerkad with them. Alright, so I'm not sure what our construction facilities look like on any of these planets. Mandalore actually has a good variety, but we are going to want to get a mine on Vanquo. Mandalorian land. What's the base income? Okay, only 5, so I do want to get the mine first. We'll keep moving up our infrastructure. They actually, Jebel, I think, might have been taken from independent forces or something. But if we just move into Terrace, we're not actually opening up our fleet any more than we would be otherwise. So let's put in this guy from Fennel, if I can select him.
We're on our way.
And let's get a Pathfinder out. I'm going to use a different fleet for this one.
Coming about.
And you're going to go down to 4 to 6. So it's actually only the station. Can't remember if I talked about it in the first battle, but the only art asset that needs to still be done is that Ronica station, the kind of central, this one. I don't know how to describe the shape. Central cone with 2 little struts. Looks like a dog chew toy almost. But yeah, so this is a placeholder texture. I'm going to be finishing that. And then everything else that we need to be done is done asset-wise. So here's our first Candosi usage with Gorn Baron or something. Garen Borm. We have a lot of anti-fighter. Not as much other damage, but that is Mandalore Republic, Scythe, Air 404 ship not found, Sunguard spy ship, Queen Anne's Revenge, no sleep till Terrace. There's Demigol coming in with a slave ship. Buzz. There's Bluey Healer, ask about the faction switcher. And that. Okay. So it's not really a high level shipyard. Axilla is going to be our first of those. But maybe, let's see. We do have some hero fighters that are, or fighter heroes that are mostly assigned to Garen Borm right now. So we'll see if I can change some of them out. We're probably not going to be able to get to that that Bloodlust target unless I roll really deep, and I don't think that's a good idea. So let's go for this, the Chemplex. And since the name talks about it, since that name mentioned talk about or ask about the faction switcher, there was a mechanic that I was really hoping we'd be able to put into Revan's Revenge, based on, so there is a way to switch which faction you're in control of in Empire at War, with some story event stuff and some Lewis scripting. Unfortunately, when we tried to use it, we found out that, like, factions previously controlled by the AI, there's some things that you just can't do with them, like, that are just ways they're different that just can't be changed, and you're unable to even do basic things like move your fleets and build stuff and go into battle, which is very annoying. But the plan, the hope had been that we'd be able to use that so that if you're playing as the Republic, say, and then you get to the point where Revan leaves to take over the Sith, then you'd have the option to go with Revan. So at the end of the Mandalorian Wars, If you decide you wanted to be the Sith instead and fight against everything you built up, then maybe taking a few things with you, then we'd allow the player to do that. But unfortunately, the bugs made that not possible. So let's send Borm over to the Veronica. Need a different thing to circle around if I want a nice little view of the Candosi. I love the Candosi. Such a fun ship. Take a picture. Why not? Alright, you are going to just full salvo. Like I said, we are reliant on more Muntillions, more munitions on our ship. I really do need to stop saying the Muntillion joke, because again, 5 years ago on X2 streams, no one remembers that anymore. But yeah, so we're gonna be still threatened by point defense, just more for our ship damage than for our fighter damage, because the fighters were kind of definitely quantity over quality when it comes to the basilisks. There are things like the Devab and some other things they'll be getting later that are definitely better individually than the basilisks are. But I think we failed that one. Yeah. So we're gonna be a little bit weaker right now. But we've made it through. We've taken out another planet worth of stations. The other thing I might do in this playthrough is turn on Cruel for a bit and then turn it off. I definitely don't want to get into a super drawn-out campaign like the Fall of the Republic one currently is, or even the New Republic one that just ended. Partially just so we have a slightly smoother one for this preview, but also because we are much more likely to come across some kind of game-ending bug in Revan's Revenge right now. That's just the way she goes when we're dealing with a mod that is still very much in development. Even just doing this recording, I fixed multiple things in prior attempts to start the series off. But we're definitely making a lot of progress in fixing what needs fixing and finishing what needs finishing. Maybe I'll just get some extra Mandalorian soldiers there. I'm just gonna throw in Canderous and Jaskla to take out this planet. We'll want 3 entirely distinct armies in the future, but for now, when we're just doing some of these early takes, I think it's okay to mix and match for the moment. We're in a pretty concentrated area right now. It'll be less feasible to do a lot of that when we're more spread out through the galaxy. But let's see. You guys are going to go for this central vision. You guys are going to go up there. Then Jaskla, or Jaska, I always add an L to her name for no good reason. You're going to go there. We're going to bring in the heavier basilisk, and she is going to run around here. So one of the units who does have all of her art. Since there are so many characters in this era that are relevant, and character art is one of the hardest things to make, one of the rarest things, there will definitely be a lot of placeholder art for characters, also for the ground structures. They're going to be primarily using the Fall of the Republic ones. I think the Sith use the CIS structures, which are I don't think they're actually in the public release of Fall of the Republic yet, but they will be in the next one. And the Republic used the Republic structures from Fall of the Republic. That's less of a important thing to replace. But with those kinds of things, it's not even that it's entirely an asset situation. It's also a design situation where it doesn't make sense to put in new structure types and design new structure types until we know exactly how we want the roster to be distributed within the factions. That's part of why the Republic got theirs before the CIS did in Fall of the Republic. Okay, Jaska, I'm going to get you to go in here. Because with the CIS, we always knew we wanted to distribute their unit types differently among different structure sets. And so once we had that plan, that's when Skye went in and she did the structures that we're adding in the next release of Fall of the Republic. Alright, let's get them over here. Oh, they loaded her up. Get out of there.
I copy. Squadron
No
moving
living
out.
allowed.
Watching for enemy fire.
Luckily, they didn't have any infantry, so they didn't take the sensor away from us. But Jaska, they're running away from you. That's a melee unit's worst nightmare. So we're just gonna focus on their base with you. I do need to make sure she doesn't just die. So the comics that introduce the Mandalorian Knights, they have Jaska, Doriander Case. Doriander Case is their leader. Jaska is one of the underlings. But there are 2 or 3 other ones, I think 3 or 4 actually, and they aren't named in the comments like Jaska is. So I even reached out to the writer. I can't remember if I asked the writer or the artist if they had any like internal names they might have referred to some of those characters as, but unfortunately they got nothing. So maybe we'll come up with something for it. But we have Canderson in his Mandalore armor. He will eventually have an unarmored form rather than just the KOTOR 2 Mandalore form.
Yes, Commander. Attack.
But yeah, so if we do include some of the other Mandalorian Knights, then we'll probably have to come up with names, which is kind of sad.
Ready. Open fire.
I was hoping they'd have something, but that's life sometimes. There's definitely less to work with overall with different sources than in like Tron's Revenge and Fall of the Republic, as like much later periods with way more books, way more comics, way more games. But I think there's probably still more than a lot of people assume. Because there's a lot of like background ship designs we can use. I think we'll do maybe one more run at Jebel here while we can, before they get too established on it. Ooh, we got an enemy fleet coming into Mandalia. So after this attack on Jebel in space, we'll probably save and get ready to defend for our next episode.
Enemy has been spotted.
Trying to just take these planets before the Republic gets too into our business.
Right
Get our
away.
Candosi in,
Let's move
get
out.
Demagal in, get Mando or Republic, Buzz, Error 404, ask about the faction switchers, Scythe, Sunguard, No Sleep Till Terrace,
Location confirmed.
Bluey Healer,
Right away.
and Queen Anne's Revenge.
Roger that.
All to take out just this one level 1 station. This is actually an asset that is
Enemies in range.
intended for a different purpose, which will be explained related to the Starforge in the video I was talking about,
Initiating
the overview
attack.
video.
Awaiting orders.
We are victorious.
But for now, since we have fewer of the station assets done, we actually have the Yavin station that we're going to be using for that once it's textured and coded and everything for level 1. But eventually we will have unique structures for all of the factions. Right now they share the same level 1 through 5. But that is going to do it for our first episode of this campaign. Hope you're looking forward to it as we head towards our first Revan's Revenge release. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you did enjoy the episode, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everyone.